Nestlé, a multinational food and beverage giant, has long been recognized for its wide array of products, including infant formulas and baby foods. While these products are often marketed as healthy and nutritious choices for infants, a closer look reveals a concerning truth. Nestlé's baby foods, particularly those sold in lower-income countries, often contain alarming levels of added sugar. Investigations have revealed that Cerelac sold in these regions often contains significantly higher levels of added sugar compared to its counterparts sold in Europe and North America. This discrepancy highlights a concerning double standard in product quality, with Nestlé seemingly prioritizing profits over the well-being of infants in less affluent markets. Excessive sugar consumption during infancy can have detrimental effects on a child's long-term health, increasing the risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and other chronic diseases. By targeting developing countries with sweeter products, Nestlé is essentially exploiting vulnerable populations and perpetuating a cycle of poor health outcomes. This essay delves into the intricacies of this issue, examining the health risks associated with added sugar in baby food, the ethical implications of Nestlé's actions, and the importance of consumer awareness and regulatory oversight in holding corporations accountable for their practices. A stark contrast emerges when comparing the sugar content of Nestlé's baby food products sold in different regions. In Europe, Nestlé's baby food often contains little to no added sugar. However, in many lower-income countries, the situation is different. For instance, Cerelac in the Philippines contains up to 7.3 grams of sugar per serving, while in India, it contains 2.7 grams. This contrasts with European products, which often have no added sugar. Nestlé's Nido milk powder shows similar discrepancies. In Panama, Nido contains 5.3 grams of sugar per serving, while in Europe it averages 2 grams. These differences are due to varying regulations. Loopholes in regulations allow companies to prioritize profits over infant well-being. The high levels of added sugar found in Nestlé's baby food products sold in certain regions pose significant health risks to infants. Excessive sugar consumption during this critical period of development can have detrimental and long-lasting effects on a child's health. Infants are particularly vulnerable to the adverse effects of added sugar due to their developing organs and metabolisms. One of the most concerning risks associated with excessive sugar intake during infancy is the increased likelihood of developing obesity. When infants consume high amounts of sugar, their bodies store the excess calories as fat. This can lead to rapid weight gain and increase the risk of becoming overweight or obese later in life. Obesity, in turn, is a major risk factor for a host of chronic diseases, including type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and certain types of cancer. Added sugar, particularly in the form of fructose, can overwork the pancreas, the organ responsible for producing insulin, a hormone that regulates blood sugar levels. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance, a condition in which the body's cells become less responsive to insulin, resulting in elevated blood sugar levels. Insulin resistance is a hallmark of type 2 diabetes, a chronic metabolic disorder that affects millions of people worldwide. The revelation of Nestlé's practice of selling baby food products with significantly higher sugar content in lower-income countries raises serious ethical concerns. Critics argue that Nestlé is engaging in a double standard, prioritizing profits over the health and well-being of infants in less affluent regions. This practice is particularly egregious considering that many of these countries face existing challenges related to malnutrition and food insecurity. Nestlé's actions raise questions about the company's commitment to corporate social responsibility and its ethical obligations to consumers. As a global leader in the food and beverage industry, Nestlé has a responsibility to uphold ethical standards and ensure that its products are safe and nutritious for all consumers, regardless of their geographic location or socioeconomic status. However, the company's sugar practices in developing countries suggest a disregard for these responsibilities, prioritizing short-term profits over the long-term health of vulnerable populations. This double standard is particularly concerning given the power and influence that Nestlé wields in the global marketplace. Section 5: Global Outcry, Regulatory Actions, and Public Backlash. The revelation of Nestlé's sugar practices in baby food has sparked widespread condemnation from health organizations, consumer advocacy groups, and the general public. The company has faced accusations of exploiting vulnerable populations, prioritizing profits over infant health, and engaging in misleading marketing practices. This global outcry has led to increased scrutiny of Nestlé's operations and calls for stricter regulations to protect infants from the harmful effects of excessive sugar consumption. In response to mounting pressure, regulatory bodies in several countries have taken action against Nestlé. For instance, India's food safety regulator, the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, or FSSAI, launched an investigation into the sugar content of Nestlé's baby food products sold in the country. Similarly, Bangladesh officials initiated an inquiry into the matter, expressing concerns about the potential health risks posed to infants. Legislative efforts are also underway to address the issue of added sugar in baby food. Section 6. Nestlé's defense justifications and recent initiatives. In the face of mounting criticism and regulatory scrutiny, Nestlé has defended its practices, arguing that its baby food products comply with local regulations and nutritional guidelines in the countries where they are sold. The company maintains that the sugar content in its products is carefully calibrated to meet the specific needs of infants in different regions, taking into account factors such as taste preferences, cultural norms, and dietary habits. Nestlé has also emphasized its commitment to reducing sugar content across its product portfolio, including its baby food lines. The company has pointed to initiatives such as reformulating certain products to reduce added sugar and introducing new product lines with lower sugar content. For instance, Nestlé claims to have reduced the sugar content in its infant cereals by 11% globally and has pledged to phase out added sugars in its growing-up milk products intended for children aged 12 to 36 months. Furthermore, Nestlé has highlighted its efforts to promote responsible marketing practices. Section 7. The power of the consumer, driving change through awareness. Despite the complexities of the issue and the challenges in holding a multinational corporation like Nestlé accountable, consumers have a crucial role to play in driving positive change. By making informed choices about the products they purchase and advocating for greater transparency and accountability from food companies, consumers can exert pressure on Nestlé and other manufacturers to prioritize infant health over profits. One of the most effective ways consumers can make a difference is by educating themselves about the sugar content in baby food products. Reading labels carefully, comparing different brands, and choosing products with lower sugar content are essential steps in making healthier choices for infants. Consumers can also utilize resources such as online databases and mobile applications that provide information about the nutritional content of various food products, empowering them to make informed decisions at the point of purchase. Beyond individual choices, collective action can amplify the impact of consumer pressure. Section 8. The urgency for transparency holding corporations accountable. The case of Nestlé's sugar practices in baby food underscores the urgent need for greater transparency and accountability in the global food industry. Consumers have a right to know what is in the products they purchase, especially when it comes to food intended for vulnerable populations like infants. Governments and regulatory bodies have a responsibility to establish and enforce stricter regulations that protect consumers from misleading marketing practices and ensure that all food products meet rigorous safety and nutritional standards. One crucial step towards greater transparency is mandatory and standardized labeling of sugar content in all food products, including baby food. Clear and concise labeling using easily understandable language and units of measurement can empower consumers to make informed choices about the products they purchase. Additionally, regulations should require food companies to disclose the types of sugars used in their products, differentiating between naturally occurring sugars and added sugars. Another essential measure is the implementation of stricter regulations on marketing practices, particularly those targeting infants and young children. Section 9. A call to action. Safeguarding infant health through collective effort. The issue of added sugar in baby food is a public health concern that demands a collective effort to protect future generations. Consumers, policymakers, health organizations, and responsible corporations must create a food environment that supports healthy growth. Parents and caregivers are the first line of defense against excessive sugar consumption. By reading labels and choosing healthier alternatives, parents can impact their children's health, Advocating for breastfeeding and promoting healthy eating habits are crucial steps. Policymakers must create regulations that prioritize public health over corporate profits. Stricter regulations on sugar content, clear labeling, and restricting misleading marketing